just because we're on the edge of our seats and we've had a very, I think for the most part, everybody thinks an exciting episode.
Absolutely.
Of Game of Thrones. That doesn't mean there can't be problems.
Sure.
That doesn't, okay. Now, I'm just, hear us out. You fancy yourself a fine American. You fancy yourself somebody who's against censorship. Subscribe to doubletoasted.com and you will fight censorship. You over here,
do your part.
You support us saying and doing whatever we want to do. We are going to be in Toronto May 25th. That's going to be at the Adelaide Hall. Doors open at 6 p.m. The show starts at 7. That's going to be a full night of comedy, games, and music. Has it actually been better for people who haven't read the books? Has it been better for entertainment's sake? Or has it strayed a little bit too far from the source material to where, while it's still good, maybe is it still does it still retain the authenticity of storytelling that Game of Thrones had that made it such a mainstream hit? Let's go ahead and take a look at just a quick recap of episode 3 of season 8, and we'll be back to continue this discussion.
The Night King is coming.
One of the things that I think makes me ask the question of, is this truly Game of Thrones? And I'm not asking this in a way that's nerdy. I'm not trying to be some Game of Thrones hipster. Oh, it's not the Game of Thrones that I know.
Yeah.
I was in the Game of Thrones when it was cool. That kind of thing, which some people are actually doing. It kind of makes you ask this question when you have an episode like this. When you have an episode that is putting emphasis on action. One of the things I think that makes the episodes of Game of Thrones so special when they do battles, they give you a sense of scope.
Right.
They have a lot of shots, aerial shots, wide shots, shots of battlegrounds where people are clashing against each other. Here, I don't have any footage of the actual fights with the White Walkers and of course the several armies that have come together, but. It is a very dark episode, and it is shot very tight. I can't say that it was my favorite. I can't say that I think it's the best that they've done, just because it was really hard to see. Now, this is where I'm going to let you guys come in, because either that is a personal preference on my part, or either it wasn't filmed very well, that reflects the better episodes, or maybe they want to give you a sense of confusion. What do you guys think?
I mean, for myself, I kind of thought they wanted to film the Whites as just this massive horde. Like, we've never seen them fight something like this in mass before. We've had episodes like Hard Home where they fight them, or in like season 7 when they fight like a big group and everything. But we've always seen them like that. I thought that the point of this having to take place at night, where there's a lot of CGI on screen, and oftentimes in a lot of big blockbuster movies and other things, CGI always looks better in the dark, in a darker scene.
Yeah.
And so I thought they wanted to capture just the horde, these things just overwhelming everybody, and that was the intention. And then we go towards more of the castle, then we started to get kind of a better sense of that claustrophobia again, both outside, inside. But then we also saw some kind of like personal battles I thought were great, whether it had been some of the main characters like Theon, or even Arya, like on the wall, or the Hound. Like, we had those moments, but I think they just want to capture what this mass of bodies is like.
They did it really well when the dragons were flying throughout the episode, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just see this mist, and you're like, I can't see. It's claustrophobic. I'm scared. I'm seeing a lot of crazy stuff happening. However, I think it's more effective in Hard Home when I see exactly what's happening, and the stakes are being raised slowly throughout that episode more effectively, I would say, for me, than what we saw here.
One of the things that everybody's going to look at here and say that, okay, this is exactly what that is. They're going to be comparing this to this particular film right here.
Tim, you're not well suited for the job.
That right there, that right there is what is going to be on everybody's mind with this. It is a zombie episode. It is a horror episode, and there were some moments where that was played to great effect. And it was great. It was when Arya was running through the library, and she was hiding. Yeah, she was she was trying to outmaneuver the zombies. It was a great play with shadows. It was a great play with camera angles. They did. It took me all. I'm not going to pull up the clip right now, but it took me back to the way Spielberg filmed the Velociraptor scene.
The kitchen.
Yes,
The
of
kitchen of Jurassic Park.
And you know what else I was thinking? I'm like, this is every classic video game horror moment too, where you're just going left and right, and you're like, I don't know what happened, but one small mistake, I'm gonna die right here.
Oh yeah, there's that moment where it's even done with some zombie games.
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
Last of Us. Where you're trying to, especially with something like a game where it's based on sound and whatnot.
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. Yeah, man. It's so they did a great job at playing with genres. I think the reason why it starts not to feel like Game of Thrones anymore. And like, again, I'm not tripping and being some Game of Thrones nerd. I would just say there is a difference of the storytelling that they had up into what we have right now. This particular episode was the most Hollywood action horror episode they've done because they start to do these tropes of horror and action. There were a lot of one of the things that stood out to me. There was a lot of last minute saves. There were so many moments where somebody had a sword up, and it took the tension away because I said, all right, they're gonna raise. Anytime I saw a White Walker raise a sword, I said somebody gonna come up behind him. The moment I saw the Night King approach Bran, and I thought, and everybody thought something was gonna happen, I was like, he's gonna get the run up. Somebody gonna squirrel monkey his ass on the back.
Wow, literally happened too.
And it happened. It was just it was very predictable. That's a very Hollywood thing that they're doing for the sake of being mainstream now, with none of the source material to like really lean on. Look, I'm not really complaining because it was effective as a horror and an action film, but from Game of Thrones, it doesn't feel like it's that kind of storytelling anymore.
It's not, and let's get the obvious out of the way. Production, great. How it's shot, fantastic, right? But unfortunately, this is going to piss off a lot of people. It's become a TV show, a mainstream TV show, right? I was really hoping, and we can deep dive later into it. It just please subvert my expectations, right? Arya comes out of nowhere. What's going to happen? I want that Night King to pull that Mortal Kombat fatality on. That's it. And it's like, this isn't the TV show that you've come to expect.
I like the fact that there wasn't much talking this episode. I thought that was really effective. It was just sound or just lack of sound completely. You don't really get that in Game of Thrones, but the show is about talking for the most part. So I thought that was cool. But for me, I just didn't see Arya coming at the last minute. Even despite of what had just happened in the previous scene, because I was just so overwhelmed by what I was like, is Danny gonna get him? Is it gonna be Jon? Is it gonna be Bran? He's gonna have like a Valerian thing. He's gonna stab us. So I was expecting. I felt that. Well, we can get into it, whether like in terms of like the lore and stuff, that was satisfying. I thought with the episode itself, how they established it, it worked.
This has been a depressing ass week, and everybody been waiting to see who's gonna die. Everybody been waiting to see if Captain America gonna die. Everybody been saying is Iron Man gonna die?
Right.
Who's all? Is half the cast of Game of Thrones gonna die? They want to see if Corey's gonna kill Carlos or vice versa. Everybody's kind of everybody, and that's what we did here. Everybody was sitting back and kind of doing the thing of they got the scorecards out. Who's gonna be the major players?
For sure.
No major players here that really died. I don't think. Not the people that a lot of the viewers put their weight on. We had some people that people like, and see, now we get into areas where I don't know the names.
No, it's okay. I wrote down the list actually.
Like I just call him Eye Patch Guy.
Derek Bondarian.
Beric Dondarrion.
Yeah. Kind of anticlimactic with him. It's just kind of like, all right, you know what? I'm done. It's not a character that one of the favorites.
No.
Again, no real emotion there because once you see a guy die and come back, it's like, okay, you know what? That can happen again if they really wanted to, especially in the magical world. You had some side characters die. Ed, who died. I mean, it's like funny character. He was some good relief when things got too tense. He cracked a joke. He with Sam a little bit. But when he died, did anybody really feel anything?
No, because we all knew he was going to die.
For myself. No. We all knew he was going to die, but this is what got me really excited. I'm like, okay, we lose someone right away that I somewhat already care about. And that's what got me really excited about this episode. I'm like, okay, the Dothraki, gone in a matter of seconds, right? And I'm like, they ain't playing around. So, of course, when they started out with Ed, it was really fantastic. You're right. Is he someone anyone's going to cry about? Not really. No. So.
At least you know his name.
I just got to know him, too. Theon Greyjoy, I think, is someone that you feel his loss. But it was kind of like man, death for you is that was the only way for you to really kind of redeem yourself and become someone that people like. You messed up so many times.
I thought he has one of the best arcs in the show. I really like Alfie Allen's performance throughout. How he's honestly probably changed the most out of everybody. Did we expect him to die? Of course, but his final moments with Bran, when Bran just despite him being always weird, always staring off, like he gave Theon, I think that satisfaction, that the redemption he was looking for. It's like, Theon, you're a good man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and then even when he was running towards the Night King and he takes him out like it's nothing. It was still worth it because he was still trying to be a
that's
good
what I
person
mean
in.
by like, okay, that is, and everybody saw this coming because
Yes.
they said you need to do a sacrifice in order for you to really completely win people over. I
Yeah.
think there's no living and surviving away and moving on with your life. No, you got to go, but go out like a hero.
John has told him in the past, like, you are a Stark. This is you've been family, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that he died in his home, right?
Yeah.
In Winterfell, and I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, no, it was fitting, man.
Yeah.
When Bran just told him, "You're a good man," you saw the expression in his face. It's like, I can die in peace. I rescued my sister. My arc is complete. And honestly, if there's a heaven for him, he achieved it. You can see it on his face. Like, not a lot of the characters we ever get that great arc story.
Well,
He got it.
and you know what? And that brings up a point probably to what I'm trying to say is, like, I think a lot of people even read that the reason why you need to go is because this man's been tortured. He's not,
Yep.
he's been disfigured.
Yes.
It's like he wants to do something good. I don't think he even really wanted to live his life out being who he was. I think sacrificing himself gave him a final purpose. We see a lot of bravery. Even more than we counted these characters for. We see a lot of respect coming out of characters that we didn't really see before.
Honor.
Honor, yeah, exactly. Yeah. We saw some of that going on with, I think
Jamie, man.
Jamie's always talked about like that, but I think people are continuing to be surprised by not only the bravery that Tyrion is showing, but also this relationship that he's beginning to have with Sansa. Okay, let me ask you, do you think at the end, like, Sansa said, you know what, we're about to die, maybe I do want to this guy.
Man, I don't know, but actually, their moments in the episode I thought was some of the best.
They were flirty in a way, man.
It was absolutely beautiful. When they were tense in that crypt scene, I'm just like, oh my god, like something might happen between one of them. Yeah,
They both were tortured in various ways throughout
Yeah.
their entire life. So I thought that was a moment like, we're going to die. We've been through all this together. I don't know if it was like sexual tension. I didn't read it that way. I just felt it's a mutual love.
Well, yeah.
This is survival. We're a family right now. And like when he kissed her hand, I didn't get like any implications that felt like a sexual type thing.
Yeah.
I just felt like we're together in this.
I think right now, and I was kind of joking when I said that,
Yeah.
it was sexual. So we're being stupid, but I think that at this point there was, I think there was reluctant respect for him.
Sure.
And now she's just finally realizing, like, he really is a good person. He is. I always thought that there was some sort of angle for what he, for this bravery that he was putting forward. But seeing him in this crypt where he's one of the few people that says, I don't, he's the shortest motherfucker. He's talking about, I need to be out there doing something. We need to be out there doing something. I think she finally said, this guy he's done for me, and now he wants to do for multitudes of others. He really is a good person. So many honorable traits and respectable traits being brought up, and yet I think this episode was crushing in the sense that there is no reward for any of it, especially in what you're doing right here. I mean, of course, Game of Thrones, but when you are attacked by, and we saw it was pretty terrifying. I will say this is very effective too when the Night King is able to bring the dead back to life, and plus that crypt scene was amazing because everybody predicted. They said, y'all are hiding out in this crypt thinking you being so clever, and they about to get your ass in a little bit because we know that the Night King can lift the dead. Why would you surround yourself by other dead, even if they're in tombs? But when you're in a fight where you are willing to give your life, and show the best traits of yourself right before you die, what is the reward in it? And when some ghoul is just going to bring you back to turn on people, it just seemed like there was just nothing. That's what up until the end of the episode. But it just seemed that was the thing that was just so crushing about this.
It's
episode.
like it's just like this inevitability, no matter what. But it's better than just laying down and dying, coming back as something else. At least go out fighting and protecting what you truly care about. Yeah, it's like like in all the other previous 2 episodes, we're all gonna die,
Yeah.
but we still have to do it anyway. And
But you're gonna-
but that's what's honorable about those characters, and that's what's redemptive about a lot of their arcs. Just like, despite everything we did to each other, we're coming back in this moment, just like, we just need to live.
But
we have to show that we're better
Yeah.
than this entity, this threat, this other. And I think that's really noble. Yeah, death. And yeah, like, is your reward not gonna be much? Sure, but it's better than doing nothing.
It's not even like a reward. It's like, okay, I'm gonna die, and I know that I'm only going to whatever I'm leaving behind is only going to contribute to destroying others, even after I've done what I can to actually help.
Because it wasn't until the Night King actually like literally resurrected them in front of us, I just didn't even think he was going to do that because I was just so wrapped up in everything I was watching that I'm like, when he finally did this, his Undertaker pose, I'm like, oh shit, he can do that. I'm like, I forgot.
Look, I got that Jesus pose.
Yeah.
It was also in that moment. It was the
Give it
first.
up.
It was also the first time that the Night King showed any type of expression. He smiled.
Yeah,
And
and
'cause
he
he knew-
he
he
can
knew.
barely even do that.
Yeah. But I thought that was cool. It was a good callback to Hard Home. It's like, I remember you. And he just does that and he continues walking. So I thought it was effective in that way, satisfying and very horrifying.
Yeah, there were some amazing shots in here. Again, we don't really have any, but of course, some of the most majestic shots that you're going to have are of the dragons.
Right.
There was some amazing scenes. I mean, look, everything was dark, and sometimes I wonder if they did it because, hey, we want to save a buck or two.
Yeah.
Because we got to save that money for those dragons, man. You know, those dragon shots were amazing. The dragon battles were amazing. This is some of the best. Listen, if you're not trying to be too heavy on Game of Thrones and the narrative they were telling before, and trying to keep up with that deep narrative that they were telling before, this is some great fantasy they have on TV. That dragon battle rivals anything that you would see in Lord of the Rings.
Sure. No, I
not
think
better.
it's better, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
better.
Just the way the ripping of the flesh and
Oh, yeah.
the swarming
yeah.
of the
Visceral.
dead.
You're
It's,
right.
yeah.
No, that's
the zombie. You're fighting a zombie dragon, man,
I
and breaking his jaw, and he's still going at it.
Yeah.
That's I think in this episode where I might criticize the battles, but definitely the money and the production expertise show with the dragon shots. One of the deaths I'm talking about that's getting to you. I think one of the deaths that got to me for a couple of particular reasons. One, I like this character. You talk about character with a good redemption. Character that's trying to be as noble by showing his but what you laughing about? By showing his showing his loyalty. Jorah with Dany. The reason why I think that was effective to me.
Is he though?
I don't know.
That's the whole thing. He doesn't bite the dust. He lays down, but we don't really get a confirmation.
He's dead.
No.
Okay,
because he
can I
gets
tell you why
stabbed.
he's probably dead? Because she was crying her ass off.
Yeah.
And that is why that death affected me. She has been so cold and centered on power this season. And I never expected her to, because she's been kind of, she's trying to show her authority, and not show very much emotion. And it's hard to tell who she's dismissive of or who she likes. So when it's just, she's just trying to be, all business. But it moved me to see that's the one that broke her.
That was a good moment. I think it's what the audiences needed, because she's always playing the Game of Thrones constantly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we needed that break for her, and that was an amazing moment of Jorah, because this is the guy who loves her, but they can never be together, right?
And he's in love with her.
He's in love with her, and the last words that he says to her, or tries to so hard, is "I love you," and then he dies.
Yeah.
And that was the death that got me. That's what made me watery.
That's the one that got me too. I was like, wow,
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, that's interesting. No, I thought it was a good scene. For me, I would just like, listen, Mr. Friendzone, he had to die a long time ago. So, it's interesting that you guys feel that way. I still think how he went out and how it happened, I thought was done beautifully. But the Theon death actually affected me more in this episode.
The majority of fantasy is in especially if it's, leaning towards like medieval type fantasy. It's very white, and I think that they've used the Dothraki as just tools more than characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even Aquaman, when he was on, he was just a big dildo, man. Like he just killed people. They use these the brown characters of this universe, and so they just use them as death machines, as tools,
as fodder.
And that's what they did. That's one of the things I did not like here. They wiped out. They wiped them all out at the beginning, and it's funny how they tried to first. Again, they're using them, like you said, as fodder. They use them because as they do with a lot of things of this type. You know, they're being used not as people when other people are. All these other armies are, you know, being shown as sympathetic. These guys are being shown as tough, and if they die, well, that's cool. We weren't that close to them anyway. And plus, it's to show you how dangerous the enemy that we're going up against is. But they wiped them. Well, I don't know about all of them, but they are gone. They used them to get rid of them at the beginning of the show.
I can only, well, you know, and that's interesting that you bring that up. I think visually it was just, it kind of took your breath away. Yeah. This threat, which you've always been talking, like from season 1, it's like the Dothraki land. We can't stop them. That's what Ed and Robert are talking about. Like, there's like, Dany has control of all of them. Like 100,000 men or however much it is. And to see them just all disappear, lights go out one by one, that's a really cool visual. Now, understand, it's like, yeah, we didn't get to know them as characters except for Drago, and he was only in season 1. And like you said, he was just used for sex pretty much. You know,
he was
have an arc, or
he was a
kill,
bull, you know,
kill other characters in a really fun way.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. They were not characters. They were just a blunt instrument.
I don't think it worked as well as the show wanted it to, because the whole thing, it was a great, beautiful visual. You know, the lighting of the torches when Melisandre showed up.
Yeah.
But
gives you hope.
Well, I didn't, because I was like, man, this is the first 10 minutes. You know, they're gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, before then, when she lighted those things, I didn't think they were going to charge. Like, oh, good luck. I'm going to stay back here with all the rest of these guys.
No, they're not the fodder. They're literally the main force, because they need an open field to work. And the Dothraki actually work better when there's nothing between them and their target. So if they hadn't pulled back in the flank, they will actually be like less utilized, and they're not good hand-to-hand combat. It goes into that. Once they die, Dany goes, "Oh shit, this are my people that were following me." And she looks at Jon Snow. It's like, I gotta go. I can't let them die. And she realized everybody here that you brought is going to die. And Jon is telling her, I know they're your people. They're my people also. Fuck them, because we need to get this one guy. If we get this one guy, we all live.
Yeah.
And she is the one that, at the end of the episode, she's the one that has the most blood in her hand, because she actually fucks up. Yeah. Instead of following plans, she's the one that first panics, because she has never gone into battle at that level.
Yeah. We are still getting the same shit with Sansa, man. Sansa's like in the crypt, and she's talking, you know, she's, oh, you still... you still bound to that bitch over there. You know, it's like, y'all in the crypt, y'all about to die. You know, it really is time to let that go. Now that we've defeated these White Walkers, you're going to have this petty shit coming up again.
Of course, but it's true to the character. As long as it's true to the character and its motive, you can pretty much get away with it. That's the whole point.
Part of me always thought that Dany and Sansa never, even if they know that the threat's coming, they never really took the idea of the Night King seriously until it's on their doorstep. Yeah. You know, I think that's why they have always had this infighting between them and their, you know, and their various.
And they've even
advisors.
said so much.
And that's why Jon's just like, listen, I don't really want to. This is not the problem right now. Let's move on. We got a much bigger threat coming. Yeah. And I think it makes sense for those characters to be, and they stop that petty stuff like as soon as the Dothraki get taken out, and when the people in the crypt start coming out, that's when Sansa stops her thing. So I think it makes sense for those characters, but in the moment, eventually in the episode, it all worked out.
Talking about characters that died, we were in a little bit of debate.
Interesting. Okay.
Ghost.
Is he
dead?
I have no idea.
He dead.
I mean, here's the thing. The episode started with him like charging with the Dothraki and Jorah.
That was badass too.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, here we go, right? And then we don't see him. But
it's too expensive.
With what we saw with the plot armor towards the end of the episode, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be in the camp of, if we didn't see him die, I'm just going to assume he's somehow alive.
That's what I'm going to go with.
That's what I'm going to go with.
How would you explain that wolf survive a tidal wave of zombies?
Don't argue with him.
No.
Yeah, man, he's dead. Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, I agree with you, man.
I think for the
people were dead. All right, they didn't die, but people were getting swarmed by zombies. Yeah. We had about 4 different times where Bran and Jaime and Sam. Now I can understand Jaime and Bran probably getting out of it, but chances are no, they were getting swarmed. Yeah. But Sam with his useless ass.
I mean, Sam was on the floor. Like, that's what, like, really annoyed me. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Sam didn't even have no weapons. Sam was running. Sam was crying. Sam should have been dead.
Yeah.
No, he should have died, and there's even like right towards the end of the episode, there's like a mountain of corpses. He's just laying on it, but he's stabbing. He's crying and stabbing.
You know, it's like that. If anybody ever watches The Walking Dead, they're Glenning us, man. You remember when Glenn was like by the
dumpster?
Hit under the dumpster.
Yeah.
It was bad. No, you're absolutely right. You know, visually, there's like, okay, that guy clearly is dead, and then we cut back. He's he got out of it.
This is not The Walking Dead. This is Game of Thrones, right? This show has subverted everyone's expectations time and time again. So I'm thinking we're not going to get the slow motion Jorah moment, right? Because these things are coming so fast. We don't have time to say goodbye to Brienne and Sam. And I thought that actually would have been really good and really effective. Be like, oh my God, we just lost one character we love and another one back to back. And here we go. And we don't. And we get plot armor and it ruined it.
I got to tell you, man, that really would have been a very cool thing had they just died in the middle of battle and we just saw their bodies being pulled out.
Of course.
Major characters instead of getting some dramatic Hollywood death.
No. And that's why when the episode started with Ed dying, I'm like, okay, this is where we start the body count. And it was just a huge missed opportunity, personally speaking.
Yeah. What kind of shit was Bran on, man? Bran on you? I mean, okay, now this is something I don't know. I'm going to ask anybody here who does. Where did he go?
He was in the Ravens.
He was with the I saw the Ravens, and
he's just writing all this stuff down. He needs to know for later, so he's just writing all the specifics of the battle. But yeah, that's what he was observing all around.
Okay,
like where the Night King was, where the army was, all these other people. He wants to tell their stories.
He's taking notes.
He's taking notes.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it starts off effective of like, okay, I guess he has to do some like recon with the Ravens, right? But like, clearly the Night King flying with the dragon, he did this thing. He was just like hovering, right? He just like, okay, I thought he just kind of like snapped Bran out of it. But then we still see Bran doing some ecstasy somewhere, right? Towards the very end with Theon. And I'm like, where is he?
That's why, like...
I was a little lost.
Like, we're getting attacked. You just overdosed on heroin. What?
Yeah, I'm like, what's happening?
I even thought he was so cool when the Night King came up. I thought we were about to have some kind of twist where they were working together the whole time.
Well, no. I mean, up until the very end, I'm like, oh, man, is this Night King Bran thing the theory? And I'm like...
Yes, and that's been a theory that's been going on. Like, has he been controlling... I thought he was the Night King, and he was controlling the Night King the whole time, because especially when he said... I thought he was saying that sarcastically, you're a good man, Theon. And I thought...
I know. And I was really expecting some Michael Jackson Thriller shit for them to turn around and be like, oh, the theory was true, and I didn't believe it, right?
Yeah, but I guess they didn't.
No, it was off. The one thing that we can definitely know is the next episode, when he was there, he was right next to the Godwood. His powers are amplifying the Godwoods. So there's a lot he might be doing that we will not see until next episode.
His Wi-Fi is really good there.
No. I'm
thinking
joking,
that
but
too,
that's a great analogy. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's something that's going on.
No,
too,
there's something going on
we don't
because when we saw the first episode of this season, he already knew behind scenes. Yeah, he came after the wall and he has one of the dragons. So we gotta pull this shit together, guys. Because he's always doing it, and he's always gathering information from all over Westeros.
But that information is not just for this documenting thing. It has to be used for something at some point, somewhere, perhaps for another battle that's down the line.
Or what I personally believe it was just a cool visual for the episode itself.
Yeah.
Oh my God, don't tell me that, man. Because no.
Where has she been? In fact, I think was it Christian that asked that, or maybe you said, okay, where has she been this whole time?
I don't remember if it was in season 7 where she spoke with Varys, where she's like, "Hey, I gotta leave Winterfell for a second, but FYI, you're gonna die here, and I'm gonna die here."
Yep.
So I mean, she definitely telegraphed it. She served her purpose, and I thought it was great that like the trenches with the fire didn't work, and that. Man, this episode just really reinforces like Lord of Light that like, okay, this isn't some fanatic talk. Like this is a thing. This is happening. So when she kind of saved the day with that, I thought that was just a great shot. But
didn't expect it either.
Yeah, I did not expect it, and that's why I loved it so much. But she served that higher purpose. But that's why I was a little confused towards the end where she just drifted away. Right, like, well. You came out alive, like what was going to happen?
Yeah, she aged very quickly to a true age, true
she took the amulet. Image. She took the amulet, and the whole thing. Her whole career is like, I need to serve my purpose. And when she got into Winterfell, she knew what her purpose was.
Somebody asked at the end of the episode, they're like, "Well, I guess what's next? It's all done." I'm like, "Have you got this bitch still out there?" This has been the setup. The big setup, and I think this might even be. We're talking about Cersei. Yeah. I think this might be somewhat of a distraction because we've been talking about how we have two other very power-hungry people who we've sided with, who might at some point be the bigger force to like come in and do the most damage. Cersei definitely will be the destructive force to be reckoned with, but only aided by other people who are consumed by their own, I guess,
greed and lust for power.
For lust for power. Yeah. Now that we have this big, this huge obstacle that we have with the White Walkers done up and apparently finished.
Yeah.
Where are we going now?
I was going to say, my whole prediction was that they were going to lose this battle. And they would have to retreat it south, and the Night King would just conquer until he got to King's Landing. That's where the series would end. So I kind of feel like these next 3 episodes, at least right now, how I'm feeling, it's a little anticlimactic. They're like, oh, yeah, we got to deal with Cersei and Euron Greyjoy and everything. Yeah. And I just did not expect that. So, yeah, at this point, you're just dealing with the human threat, and then you're going back. For people that were complaining about this episode, all about the action, those Hollywood moments, now we might get back into Game of Thrones proper. We dealt with the Hollywood blockbuster threat. Yeah. Now we're going to go back into the politics and see people backstabbing each other and doing manipulation. So maybe in a way, it's going to satisfy all different types of fans for the fan base. So that could be kind of cool. She's her and you're on the last of the human threats.
This could be like, hey, give the people a little bit of a mainstream entertainment before we get into the deep stuff.
Everything with the Night King, I do have some things I will say in a second, but I still think they just might pull one more trump card. And I think Cersei will go out actually pretty quickly, and I think this might be a Dany versus Jon thing towards the end.
Yeah.
Please, just for the sake of subverting my expectations, that will be the Game of Thrones I knew and remembered from seasons 1 through 4, right? Because if it becomes a very Hollywood blockbuster, Night King is dead, Cersei's dead, Jon and Dany rule happily ever after, this is going to leave a horrible taste in my mouth.
At least with me, I love this episode. Let me get this clear. I think it's one of the best executed episodes I've seen in Game of Thrones. I love it very much for what it is, but it kind of ruins the series, because to anybody that's been watching the season, like all the seasons since we started, this episode retcons like 5 or 4 things that were established in season before. Even stuff that took whole seasons to establish, they just retcon, especially with Arya taking out the Night King. And that was my biggest problem with this whole final, because it's a lot that I can't ignore for the sake of moving the plot. But when you spend the first 3 to 4 seasons establishing the mythos and how like Prince that was promised and all the requirements that needed to fill to destroy him, and Arya comes out of nowhere and she just ends him like nothing. For the sake of the TV, cool, but when you look out back at the other episodes, it just doesn't make sense, and it was not what they had planned. And you can tell it's not what J.R. Martin had planned. He had planned something totally different, and they could tell us like, we're gonna deviate, we gotta ignore what we already pre-established, and we gotta make it a little more TV.
Okay. I think your girl was the MVP of the episode.
She was.
What's her name?
Liana Mormont.
Was that
Little Liana Mormont.
Yeah, man. No, she did. Man,
No, she went out.
Shit, she went out like a G.
But at first, like when that giant came in, it's like move, like nothing. God damn.
No, if you're gonna go out like that, I have to say she is officially my favorite character on this show. I mean, let's just be honest. Game of Thrones ain't been the kind to show to kids. They stab them, they butcher them, they burn them. They turn them into steaks and hamburgers.
They poison them.
They poison them. They trample them. Yeah. Even that giant, you see, he was about to eat her too. Like,
Oh my God.
That's why I said. And she's like, I'm not the one to fuck with it. She said, this show ain't gonna do me like that. That was probably. And look, if we're gonna have a Hollywood moment in here,
that was a Hollywood moment.
That was worth it right there. I love that. If we're just taking this for pure entertainment, pure entertainment, it was a good episode.
Yeah.
Story wise, we can debate that, but I'd be lying if I didn't look in here and say that everybody was not on the edge of their seat. Grown man in here screaming, they scared the shit out of me. These guys over here, one of them just Thank you for watching, everyone. That means so much to me. It would mean even more if you hit the subscribe button, and if you really love what we do, check out our main site, doubletoasted.com. Over there, we're unedited, unfiltered, uncensored. You get the whole experience, and you also help keep these live streams going that we do, and you get a longer form video. Support us at dtmerch.com, and remember to always stay toasty.